The introduction of Darth Maul in 1999 introduced fans to a brand new type of Sith Lord, complete with horns, blood-red skin marked with black tattoos, a double-bladed lightsaber, and a brand new style of lightsaber combat that was fast, highly acrobatic, and extremely aggressive. So to celebrate Maul, we're going to be taking a look at every one of his lightsaber duels on screen and ranking them from worst to best. Which duels do you think made my list? Let's get into it. Starting off at the number 10 spot, I have Maul versus the 5th brother, 8th brother, Kanan Jarrus, and Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars Rebels Season 2, Episode 22, Twilight of the Apprentice. This quick duel sees Maul easily kill the 5th brother, almost kill Kanan, and duel Ahsoka for a short period of time before he's ultimately knocked out of the fight. The standout moment from this duel is when Maul turns on Ahsoka and Kanan, claiming Ezra as his new apprentice and blinding Kanan. Without Ahsoka's intervention, Maul would have been able to land the killing blow, sealing Ezra's fate, but Maul's arrogance gets the best of him as Kanan regains his footing and easily blocks Maul's strikes, causing Maul to lose balance and fall off the ledge of the Malachor Temple, landing this duel at the very bottom of my ranking. Next up at the number 9 spot, I have Maul versus the 7th sister, 5th brother, and 8th brother, also from Star Wars Rebels Season 2, Episode 22. This is the duel where Maul, or the Shadow, reveals himself to Ezra, Kanan, Ahsoka, and the Inquisitors on Malachor. We see Maul take on all 3 Inquisitors at once, displaying how much faster and more skilled he is over them, even at this point in the timeline. It almost comes off as Maul simply toying with the Inquisitors, possibly showing off his power in an attempt to entice Ezra to join him as his new apprentice, which Maul reveals was his ultimate goal. It's a fun duel for sure, but definitely not the most spectacular on this list, earning the number 9 spot. Before we continue, please like the video and consider subscribing to my channel so you never miss out on any of my new Star Wars content. Now this next duel is a controversial one, and I know some people would be mad at its placement, but at the number 8 spot, I have Maul versus Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars Rebels Season 3, Episode 20, Twin Suns. This duel is an extremely short one, and the anticipation and the lead up to it is almost more exciting than I found the actual duel to be. However, it is not a bad duel, as it serves as the final confrontation between the two characters, ending a 30-year quest for revenge. Maul's arrogance going into this duel is overflowing, calling Obi-Wan a rat in the desert, taunting how far he had fallen in the aftermath of Order 66, but it's due to Maul's arrogance that he is easily beaten once again. Maul attempts the same exact move he used to kill Qui-Gon Jinn in The Phantom Menace, but Kenobi anticipates this, easily deflecting Maul's attack, dealing the final blow. But it's at this very moment that Maul is granted clarity.
Tell me, is it the Chosen One?
He is.
He will avenge us.
And this is why I have the duel at the number 8 spot on my list. Moving on to the number 7 spot, I have Maul and Savage Opress versus Obi-Wan Kenobi and Adi Gallia from the Clone Wars Season 5 Episode 1 Revival. If there's one thing that Maul does well, it's getting under Obi-Wan Kenobi's skin, something he does a lot in this season of the series, but it's Savage who pushes Kenobi over the edge this time. Obi-Wan immediately goes after Maul, leaving Adi Gallia to confront Savage, and while Kenobi easily parries Maul's attacks, Savage quickly overpowers and kills Gallia early on in the duel, stealing Kenobi's focus as he attempts to avenge the fallen Jedi Master, knocking him off his game. Obi-Wan's strength is his defensive fighting style, so when he shifts to fighting more offensive and aggressively, he's easily overpowered, and we see this as Maul is able to block Kenobi's killing swing at Savage, allowing the brothers to regroup and overwhelm him, forcing Kenobi to retreat. After cornering Obi-Wan within Hondo's hideout, Maul commands,
"Surrender. We are two, and you are no match for us both."
And just when it seems Maul has won the battle, overpowering Obi-Wan with the Force, Kenobi is able to cut off Savage's arm, forcing Maul to give up the fight in order to protect his brother, landing this duel at the number 7 spot. At the number 6 spot, I have Maul and Savage Opress versus Obi-Wan Kenobi and Asajj Ventress from the Clone Wars Season 4 Episode 22, Revenge. Maul and Savage are able to overpower Kenobi and Ventress throughout the duel, ultimately forcing them to flee, with Obi-Wan even admitting that he and Ventress are outmatched. But what puts this duel at number 6 in my ranking is the way Maul knows exactly how to get under Kenobi's skin, forcing the Jedi Master to play directly into his hand. In their one-on-one, Maul taunts Kenobi saying,
"Your master Qui-Gon Jinn, I gutted him while you stood helpless and watched. How did that make you feel, Obi-Wan?"
forcing a reaction, causing the usually calm and confident Obi-Wan Kenobi to give into his emotions at the downfall of his dueling skills. Maul is then able to easily parry Kenobi's aggressive yet sloppy attacks, calling him out.
"Your rage has unbalanced you. That is not the Jedi way, is it?"
and it's at this moment that Obi-Wan knows he's lost the fight. This is one of, if not the only time, that Maul truly beats Obi-Wan Kenobi, and that is exactly why I have it at the number 6 spot on my list. Coming up at the halfway point of the video, this is where the fun truly begins. So at number 5, I have Darth Maul vs Qui-Gon Jinn on Tatooine from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. The duel begins at a 10, with Maul flying in on his speeder, flipping off into the air and immediately locking blades with Qui-Gon, almost killing Anakin in the process. From his entrance on the speeder, Maul moves so quickly and ferociously without giving Qui-Gon a minute to catch his breath or even assess the situation. This is the duel that introduced Darth Maul to the Star Wars universe and the re-emergence of the Sith in the known galaxy, and while quick, it serves as a tease of what's to come at the climax of the film. Maul definitely could have killed Qui-Gon right then and there if it weren't for the Naboo cruiser providing him with an easy escape, as we see Qui-Gon collapse onto the floor of the cruiser completely out of breath, while Maul calmly watches on, cementing this duel at the number 5 spot. Moving on to number 4, I have Maul vs Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 10, The Phantom Apprentice. For the first part of this duel, Maul is clearly on the offensive, making quick work of Ahsoka and disarming one of her lightsabers within the first few minutes. But once Ahsoka begins to taunt him, the duel begins to pick up for both characters. While Ahsoka is able to knock Maul out through the throne room window, it's clear his attacks are taking a lot out of her, proving just how hard she is having to fight to keep up with him, as we see her slowly get up off the floor, trying to catch her breath before continuing on with the fight. During the second part of this duel, in the rafters above the city of Sundari, Maul is able to remain steady and continue fighting at his full potential, while Ahsoka struggles to keep her balance against their dizzying movements. At one point, Maul almost sends her falling to her death, but she manages to hang on while he's distracted by the arrival of his escape ship. In a last-ditch effort, Ahsoka takes this moment to come at him once more, with Maul completely disarming her, sending both her lightsabers falling to the city below. But as usual, Maul's arrogance gets the best of him, allowing Ahsoka to outmaneuver him in the end. The thing that sets this duel apart from the others on this list is that the outcome doesn't really matter. Regardless of who wins, Order 66 and Palpatine's ascension is inevitable, and Maul knows that. This distraction is what ultimately causes him to lose the duel in the end as well, as Maul is definitely stronger than Ahsoka, but Ahsoka's resilience is what keeps her in this fight. I truly believe Maul would have won had he not been so focused on escaping and going into hiding before the events of Order 66 took place. Originally, I had this duel a lot higher in my ranking because of how good it is visually and emotionally, but after watching it back, it's definitely not Maul's best, ultimately landing at the number 4 spot on my ranking. Now this next Maul duel may come as a surprise, as it's not one of the most popular or talked about on this list. It might even be the most forgotten one. However, this duel actually serves as an integral part of Maul's story arc for the Clone Wars series and beyond. So at the number 3 spot, I have Maul vs Pre Vizsla from the Clone Wars Season 5, Episode 15, Shades of Reason. The setup for this duel is perfect, as Maul ingeniously uses Mandalorian pride and honor against Vizsla to usurp the forces they built together, beating Vizsla at his own game. Prior to the duel, during his exchange with Mandalorian Prime Minister Almec, Maul explains,
Vizsla is a soldier, and like every soldier, he is bound by honor. I will challenge him to single combat in front of his men. He will not deny me.
If you defeat him, according to the ancient laws of Mandalore, his soldiers will be honor-bound to follow you.
Precisely.
This duel is intense, with Vizsla using everything in his arsenal from blasters to grenades, flamethrower, wrist rockets, and more. But the tide begins to turn in Maul's favor once Vizsla is left to combat him blade to blade, and once his jetpack is damaged, it's game over. Even after he's disarmed, Maul is able to beat Vizsla through hand-to-hand combat and decapitates Vizsla in front of his own men with his own weapon, winning the Darksaber and solidifying himself as the new leader of Death Watch, the Shadow Collective, and rightful ruler of Mandalore. Maul winning this duel also sets into motion his duel with Darth Sidious and the death of Savage Opress, the son of Dathomir arc, the siege of Mandalore, the creation of Crimson Dawn, and even possibly events in the Maul Shadow Lord series. Without this duel, I don't believe Maul would have survived the Clone Wars and into the Imperial era, as it solidified him as a figurehead of the Star Wars underworld, backed by not only Death Watch, but the Pike Syndicate, Black Sun, and the Hutt Cartel, ranking this duel at the number 3 spot. Coming in at number 2, I have Maul and Savage Opress versus Darth Sidious from the Clone Wars Season Season 5, Episode 16, The Lawless. Admittedly, I struggled a lot on where to place this duel in my ranking because of the pure spectacle, seeing Maul and Savage going up against a dual-wielding Darth Sidious. However, I have my reasons, so let's get into them. At the beginning of the battle, Maul is able to keep up with Sidious, with Savage mostly acting as backup. Despite how fast Sidious is known to move in combat, Maul seems to be moving faster and more acrobatically than normal, keeping up with his old master and quickly recovering between strikes. At first it seems like the brothers actually stand a chance against the Sith Lord, however once Sidious is able to separate them, he wastes no time killing Savage and using his death as a sadistic reminder and warning to Maul, telling him,
"The first and only reality of the Sith. There can only be two, and you are no longer my apprentice."
From here, it seems the pain of losing his brother, the hatred he feels towards Sidious, and his own drive to prove himself as a worthy opponent fuels a new ferocity in Maul that wasn't there before. Maul levels the playing ground, charging at Sidious with both his red lightsaber and the dark saber in hand, continuing to match, block, and parry Sidious's strikes, even landing a hard kick into Sidious's chest that sends him flying backwards into the air. Then as they lock blades for the final time, Maul is able to overpower Sidious for a short time, but as expected, Sidious ends up winning the duel in the end. This duel not only shows how strong of a fighter Maul is, but proved that his rise to power in the final years of the Clone Wars posed such a threat that Darth Sidious had no choice but to go out and get his own hands dirty, referring to Maul as a potential rival to his own goals. This duel also serves as a testament to just how much Maul had achieved upon his return, but ultimately he was unable to overcome his old master, thus landing this duel at number 2. Now before we get to the number 1 duel, I want to give a quick honorable mention, and that duel is Maul and Mother Talzin versus Darth Sidious, Count Dooku, and General Grievous from the Son of Dathomir comic. This dark-sided duel would have been a part of the Clone Wars Season 6, following up from Maul's capture in the Season 5 episode The Lawless, prior to the events of the Clone Wars Season 7. The main reason I've included this duel as an honorable mention is because we never got to see it as originally intended, though if we had, I fully believe it would be in most Clone Wars fans' top 3 Maul duels, if not their top Clone Wars duels altogether, simply for the insane matchup and display of dark side power. Rarely do we ever get to see a duel between the bad guys and the even worse guys, and apart from the pure spectacle, this duel also has an extremely emotional ending, with Mother Talzin's gut-wrenching sacrifice and death to save her son, humanizing Maul in a way we'd never seen before, and that's why I had to shout it out. I highly suggest every Maul and Clone Wars fan check out the Son of Dathomir comic series. So after going over all these amazing duels, we're finally at number 1. You know it, you love it, it's the duel that started it all, Darth Maul versus Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. This duel is tense from the start, with all 3 characters slowly removing their robes and igniting their lightsabers before jumping right into the fight, with Maul easily taking on both Jedi. From their prior duel on Tatooine, Maul knows he can defeat Qui-Gon one-on-one by tiring him out over time, but unlike that duel, Obi-Wan is here this time. To make up for this, Maul utilizes his double-bladed lightsaber to easily combat the 2 Jedi. For the first part of the duel, Maul tirelessly works to separate the 2 Jedi, utilizing the environment to his advantage. Prior to leaving the hangar, Maul is able to knock Obi-Wan down before he and Qui-Gon continue into the palace's plasma generator plant. Maul uses the many levels of catwalks and lack of guardrails to his advantage, knocking Obi-Wan out of the fight again, while he and Qui-Gon continue the duel, moving closer to a laser-gated hallway that not only separates Maul and Qui-Gon for a time, but keeps Obi-Wan even further back as he struggles to catch up. At this point, Maul knows he has Qui-Gon tired and cornered, so as the laser gates reopen, Maul continues his assault using his dizzying Jarkai combat style to confuse the Jedi Master, taking the opening to slam his hilt into Qui-Gon's face, stunning him, and driving his blade through the Jedi's midsection, while Obi-Wan watches helplessly behind the laser gate. Once Maul knows he's killed the Master, he immediately shifts focus to the apprentice. Similar to his duel with Ahsoka, I think Maul underestimates Kenobi at the beginning of their one-on-one, but once Kenobi is able to cut Maul's lightsaber in half, he adjusts his strategy, recognizing Kenobi's speed over his Master, and presses his attacks with more acrobatics and the same ferocity from the beginning of the duel, which pays off as he's able to overpower Kenobi, disarm him, and force push him over the edge of the reactor shaft, once again using the environment to his advantage. At this point, Maul believes he's won the battle, but his arrogance turns out to be his greatest enemy once again, as Obi-Wan uses the Force to propel himself from the shaft, grabbing Qui-Gon's lightsaber in the process, and slices Maul in half. Maul got so close to defeating both Jedi and winning this duel by separating his combatants and adjusting his fighting style to best them both, while using the environment to his advantage. He came so close to killing 2 Jedi that day, but out of the 2, killing the Master is the greater feat, ranking this duel at the #1 spot as Maul's best duel. So what did you think of my list? Let me know your ranking in the comments, and who do you like to see Maul go up against in future stories? Here's to hoping we finally get Maul vs Vader in the Maul Shadow Lord series. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to follow me on social media at ScottyHolidaySW, and as always, may the Force be with you.